Hello, and welcome to the Jen and Margie Show.
I'm Jen Malisi.
And I'm Margie Wiggin. And we're here to talk about the latest events with you, our community.
Tonight we're talking about this morning's State of the Town program by the Hopkinton Chamber of Commerce and held right here at the HCAM studios. Then we'll be joined by Summer Jennis to talk about the Eversource Elmwood Gasgate, and we'll wrap things up with a segment about the recent HPTA Carnival.
Yeah. So we have a lot to talk about, and we hope you'll stay with us, and please join the conversation by calling 508-435-7880 or emailing live@hcam.tv. Part of the reason we were chosen to do this is because we're going to honor all viewpoints, and we hope you will join the conversation with us. Before we get started, we need to recognize that Adam West, who is the actor who played Batman, the original Batman, passed away last week at the age of 88.
So a very sad event. So we do have a little bit of, these are my Robin glasses, and I have to say that I will certainly miss the original Adam West from the Batman series. I remember, Margie, when I was in junior high and high school, coming home from school and watching Batman, and I can still hear the music and the camera angles and all of that. So, yep, absolutely. So shout out to Adam West, and so a sad day.
Yeah, and he was a part of what was special about him. Or I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. He was handsome, but also they had those graphics on the screen. You know, when they fought.
The kablam.
In those days, you never really saw people hit each other because it was all censored.
Yep.
But you knew that they hit each other because there was a big thing that said boom or pow or.
Right.
And he was kind of funny. He had a good sense of humor. Anyway, other people have played him, and we're just giving a shout out to him.
I love the mask. That whole little bit that you just said, I love it. I love that you did that. So
What
thank
mask?
you for doing that. Exactly. So we were both this morning at the Chamber's event for the State of the Town. Have you ever been to a State of the Town before?
I have.
Yeah.
So I went last year.
I don't remember. Was it at a church last year?
No, it was here.
Faith? Oh, it was here last year. That's correct. I was here too, and then I think before that it was at Faith Community, perhaps somewhere else. I'm not sure. But nice to hear. There was John Catino, chairman of the Selectmen. Mm-hmm. There was Norman Kamalo, the town manager. There was Scott Richardson, the Chamber of Commerce president right now, and then there was Kathy McLeod, the superintendent of schools.
Right.
So it was nice to see everybody there. I wish we would have had a little more engagement from the community. It seemed a little low in numbers. You would think, but I guess with YouTube these days, you could upload it, people could see it at any time.
Exactly, and it's an invitation.
Mm-hmm. So
the Chamber of Commerce invites whomever they think should be there, and then you have to say, yes, I'll be there. It's by reservation because it is a small space.
Right.
So I don't know if everyone would be able to fit in here that wanted to come. And it's great that HCAM is so wonderful that we could see it. Tim Kilduff did a great job introducing, sort of moderator. And then Scott Richardson spoke and turned it over to Norman.
Yeah, I think it was nice for Tim Kilduff as well to also say, listen, this is an unsung hero of our community.
Yes.
Scott Richardson, who does more for anybody in the community, and people don't even realize how well connected and how well deserving he was of that accolade that Tim and that shout out from Tim. So that was nice to see as well. And he made a little joke about it, but certainly nice to see everybody get together, and what a proud day to be a Hiller, right? Really a nice time to see about how we're progressing in our schools, in our business districts, in our financing, and they talked about it. And I have some notes that I took from that we'll talk about as well throughout that. And today was Flag Day.
Yep. So one of the things I noticed with Norman, with Norman's initial presentation and everything's good, and a couple things that stuck out for me.
Yeah, let me get Norman's and let's see what I
And we'd
took
love
notes.
to have people call in if they want to engage in this conversation. A couple things stuck out for me. One was he was talking about our debt that we have a lot of debt because we've taken on all the business projects in the building projects. So I'm interested to know, what people think about that.
Even
are
though
we overbuilding? Are we taking on more than we should be taking on? He was talking about infrastructure, and then he was talking about water. And what also concerned me was he said something about we're fine with the water for now, but we may look into having to work some kind of deal to guarantee the future of the water. And that's one of the big things that was brought up in the Legacy Farms project. You know, if all these people, there's so much more water use and sewer use, is that too big a burden? He says no, for now is good, but in the future, make it.
I do believe that Legacy Farms does have their own water management plan and their own sewer, their own everything else. So that I know was part of the contingency to build that whole project.
Right.
Was that they had to be kind of self-sufficient over there.
But it's the same aquifer. It's the same water table underneath. That's where the issue
We are
is.
all in rock.
Yeah.
Yes. So Norman did point out 5 very clear things that he
Good.
talked about, of
Thank
which
you.
you've already mentioned, that at last town meeting, 82% of articles were passed, which
Yes.
means that we're getting to a general consensus that is positive and connected.
Right.
And anybody that's been certainly at town meeting and has any comments about that, we'd love for you to join the conversation and call us. He said that there was a very clear message from each of the boards, and I thank Pam Waxlass for chairing the
Waxlass,
committee
yes.
for the Charter Commission, for everybody to go out and say, okay, here's really what we want. This is how we want to preserve our autonomy. So there was a clear message from the different boards preserving the town infrastructure. The Main Street Corridor submission to DOT and formal design plan to move forward. So they're working on that. Then he did talk about the water and sewer capacity.
Yeah.
The water study's almost done. And they're talking about water along 495 Corridor 2, which is important, which seems to be a little far away from a lot of the Milford water that we share too on the south side of town. He talked about the need to build strong businesses. You know, there are still, when you think about empty storefronts downtown, not a lot of storefronts, and still a lot of them are vacant. And also they talked about South Street.
Right.
So I know that there are, that's more of a mixed use area, certainly commercial and industrial space.
And I actually, we were talking with Greg Mazer, who is the owner of the brick empty space across from Hopkinton Gourmet, that he would like to have a restaurant go in there.
I didn't
He
know
said-
that was him. Okay, now
That's
it's
Greg.
connected.
So he's
Okay.
had a couple of different
Very
people
nice. Okay.
interested, but he's also thinking about maybe a fitness place, you know,
Okay.
fill it with a bunch of machines, because it's just empty. It's
Right.
not it's set up for a kitchen. So if someone's coming in to set up a restaurant and they have not done this before, they're not walking into a fully
Equipped.
outfitted kitchen.
Right.
It's an empty square.
So that was nice. Greg Mazer and Kathy, and then they have another partner,
Yeah.
revamped that little area. They revitalized that area
beautiful.
and renovated, and that's where Swoon is, and
In
the
the back.
Razor's Edge, and that beautiful little area.
Yep. And
So-
Chef Lee, who does the open table kitchen thing, I'm not sure, he's still working on the title, which is why there isn't a sign out front.
Oh, okay.
I learned that too, because I said, why isn't there
Yeah.
a sign? But he's providing dinners for families in town.
Oh,
He's hosting
nice,
events
nice.
there, and it's a beautiful long table. And then there's a kitchen area right there, so you can actively cook. And then, so it's kitchen to table right there, and he helps facilitate
I
that.
love that.
Yeah.
That's like one of those places where you go and you cook everything in advance. It would be nice to see that. But what would you like to see, you personally,
Actually,
in that space right behind there?
well, I had a couple of thoughts. As you know, I have a lot of thoughts.
I think
so.
it's great.
I did have a thought that it would be great to have an Indian restaurant there.
Oh, I
because
love Indian food.
Indian food is so amazing, and we have a growing Indian population here. Another thought was performance fitness kind of thing, because we have runners here, we have marathoners here. I don't know if it would be, we already have a Cycle City spin place, but some kind of, drop-in workout and leave place. But I think my first choice would be an Indian restaurant.
Well, that'd be great. You know what I
Yeah.
would love? I would love another breakfast place.
Yeah.
A sit down like the Spoon, smaller scale, obviously, but just another great, all day breakfast kind of place.
Yeah.
I have an addiction to Waffle Houses, so every time I head south, I make sure I hit a Waffle House.
You want a house of pancakes there? Come on.
I do something. I don't know, but I would love to see a waffle or a pancake place or something like that, or something where people can sit and gather and hang out. And so for me, it's about food. I mean, food. I'm Italian. Food is love. So it would be nice to have another restaurant there.
And if it was a performance fitness place,
Yeah.
I would love to see a juice bar,
That would
healthy
be a great
food
idea.
thing, and then they could take the healthy food out onto that beautiful patio in the front.
That is
So really,
beautiful.
but having it empty isn't good.
No.
So hopefully something else will go in.
Hopefully somebody who's watching this would like to certainly rent the space down there. But it would be nice to have another area to go
Yeah.
to, another
In
destination.
the center of town, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So what else did Norman talk about? Norman talked about as the town grows, we can meet the goals. Does anybody know how long Norman has been town manager? Do you know?
I did know. I didn't do my fact checking this week.
I don't know. I feel like it's been 4 or 5
It's at
years.
least
but-
5.
But I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, he is certainly,
Yeah.
he is evolving as we evolve. He wants to build in the next 6 months a financial transparency tool that can be used in a meaningful way. I really didn't understand what that meant. My guess is has something to do with some bookkeeping things
and I
that
think
occurred
that's
years
great,
ago.
because I mean, for me, sometimes when they talk about free cash,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very mysterious thing. What does that mean? It's free and it's cash, and
Right.
it means cash that hasn't been used for what it was budgeted for.
I-
But then so it's in this pool of you can use it for anything. So maybe it's going to be the financial transparency tool will enable people to actually see where that
things are
came
going.
from and where it was budgeted to. So that would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
He talked about revamping the website due to the increased traffic and social media tools.
Good.
So that people in the community will have more access to the government officials that are here. And that the selectmen passed at town meeting, and he talked about that today, creating a 300th day that will be in effect. And so I'm not sure if you were there at that time. You may have already left.
There was the 300th.
The
Oh, no, I
300,
wasn't
no,
there
I'm
for
sorry, a
that.
Hopkinton
I
Day,
left-
not a 300th day. A
Yeah,
Hopkinton
yeah,
Day
in
that
the fall.
was, yes,
Right.
in the fall. He didn't give an exact date.
I think it's the 12th, June 12th.
Is it June 12th?
I mean, September 12th.
Okay,
I could be
okay.
wrong.
His basic takeaway was we always do well when we work together and respect each other.
Yes.
So that was always nice.
That's nice.
Isn't that true? We
Yes.
could take that. That's like a lesson I learned in kindergarten. We should take it together, take it away. John Catino talked about, we have an upcoming year of prosperity and balance. He talked about the library, the North Road to Legacy Farms, the new elementary school. He talked about, there's a dog park. Did you hear this?
I knew that a dog park got
That's
passed at town
amazing.
meeting, and I know they were talking about putting it in. I didn't know if anything was happening with that.
I don't know where that is,
I
but
feel like it's over near Marathon School.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
well, that would be nice.
Yeah.
He talked about having a second underride. And he said there is a proposal, which I did not know about, to decrease water and sewer rates. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
So even though despite our taxes are going up due to we're funding these other projects as they come around, it would be nice to have a decrease somewhere along the
And
way
I
that we
hope
can,
that-
we can see.
I hope there's a financial transparency tool to show exactly how they're underwriting and how they're decreasing the tax.
I'm
Well,
sure.
Yeah, I want to see what all that is.
He did talk about a AAA bond rating, which we have.
I heard that. Norman
Very
talked
few,
about that
yep,
too.
very few people in the state, very few municipalities have a AAA bond rating.
Yep.
So I think from a business model, we're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I think what I thought was kind of nice was, imagine that everybody says Hopkinton is 26.2 miles away from Boston, but imagine a day where somebody says Boston is 26.2 miles away from Hopkinton. So I
Yes.
thought that was kind of nice.
Yes.
And Kathy McLeod, who's always, you gotta love Kathy McLeod.
I
She
do.
is just
Yep.
wonderful.
She's great.
She's focused.
Brilliant.
Yep, brilliant. She talked about the opportunity to serve, and I think that people think, oh, we pay her. Yeah, we pay her, but she's still providing an enormous service to our community.
Absolutely. And P.S., she wasn't paid to be at the State of the Town at 7:30. I'm pretty sure I don't know if she's an hourly, I have no idea. But she does go out of her way. And she always
does.
has that beautiful big smile on her face and looks,
Above and beyond.
yeah.
Above and
She's
beyond, Kathy
wonderful.
McLeod, yep. She said the successes we enjoy are because of our community,
Of course.
right?
Of course. And the community is made up of the people. So if you feel like calling and joining the conversation, we would love to have you
We
call
would.
in, email. Phone
We
number
would.
is 508-435-7880 or live at hcam.tv. Join the conversation. What do you think about state of the town? What do you think about the water, the sewer, the Main Street Corridor project? Oh,
What do
I
you
hear a
what
phone
do you
ringing.
think about being in the third best high school in the state.
And it's third best after a private school and a charter school. So it's
Which is pretty
it's
amazing.
the best public school.
Which is absolutely. Elmwood's MCAS are the highest in years.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
where I work.
All middle school students have a level 1 proficiency. Let's see, we have a 99% graduation rate.
And I also heard today on the news that Massachusetts is number 2 safest state, only after, no, best state to raise your child.
Number 2.
Number 2, New Hampshire was the best,
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so because of
Okay.
education and safety and health and a whole list of things. And we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
I am.
Yay!
I just couldn't resist your very delightful invitation to become part of the conversation.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
So, a couple of the things that were talked about today that were of interest to me was, first of all, the parking downtown and how there's so little of it.
Right.
And to be honest, I didn't feel like there was a very clear and concise answer.
Right. I agree.
And then another thing that came up that's kind of related to it was the repurposing
Of the center school building, right. And we just had a repurposing committee put into place for the center school. I think 5 people were put in place at the Board of Selectmen meeting. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. A lot of them talked about business and try to make it revenue positive. I know Youth Commission is very interested, as is the Parks and Rec, in having it be a community center. So we really appreciate your call, and hopefully we'll hear more about that in the future.
Hopefully we will solve the parking issue as
And
well.
the parking issue, right, and I keep looking at the Hopkinton drug parking and thinking maybe he would somehow give us some, and so I think there are creative things we could do that, and that's a really, we'll talk about that in a future segment.
Yep, thank you for joining the conversation.
Yep, and I think actually we have to go to break now, so we'll be back.
Welcome to Hopkinton Coffee Break. A very special dessert done by a woman from Hopkinton that
Yes.
I've started using regularly. We had your residents participating both as vendors and as shoppers, and that was so much fun. Real Hopkinton Housewives. If you're on Facebook, you will have a blast. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
It's been a great.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you
See
too.
you guys.
Bye.
Have you ever considered texting and driving? If so, you should know the consequences. If caught texting and driving for the first time, you could get an $100 fine plus your license taken away for 60 days. The consequences only get worse the more you get caught. Even if you don't get caught, there could be serious effects. You could get into a car accident and hurt yourself or someone else. Texting and driving is a very dangerous combination, so stop before this happens to you.
This week on HCAM Television.
They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow.
And we're back. We have with us today the lovely Summer Jenis. Summer Jenis, who is a neighbor, a Hopkinton resident, and also is the person, the creator of, it's a site called No Elm Street Gasgate. And I first became aware of Summer when I got a message, Facebook message that said, please come down to the Board of Selectmen meeting. We need to stand up for, just to make a statement about the gas gate and against Eversource, and they haven't done their homework. So, do you want to explain that a little bit, or what started you in this vein and background? What made you into this person?
Start with any one of those questions.
Yeah, it's your baby.
All right. So I actually live at the Apple Tree Hill condos, and we were notified by Eversource that they were planning to build what they're calling a gas gate station
How long ago did they notify you?
They notified us back in March.
Okay.
And they notified us that they were going to be, putting in this station that essentially, it's a metering and regulator station. It taps into the Kinder Morgan pipeline that goes through the town.
Is that the Tennessee pipeline that people refer to as well? Is that the same thing?
I think they're two different ones, but it's essentially the same thing.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. I'm not an engineer. I'm telling you, I'm just learning about all this stuff as I go, because it was all very foreign to me. I had no idea what this thing even was. So essentially, they told us that they were putting this thing in, and my first thought process was, well, that sounds hideous, and what about my property value?
Yes.
And as I started looking into it, my property value became less and less of a concern, and my safety and quality of life really became much more of a concern. And so when we started looking into this thing, we started doing our homework. We went out and we visited a couple of other gas gate stations, and as we started looking into this, I'm not even sure where to begin on this, other than I can tell you about the normal operating of the gas gate station.
Let's peel back a layer. How long have you been in Hopkinton?
Only a couple of years.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you picked Hopkinton because
It's a great town.
it's a great town. Where'd you move from?
Great town. Norwood, but initially I'm from California.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So picked Hopkinton, love it, wouldn't change it, but you're in this place now that you have this gas gate station, which they say is already there, correct? There is something already in that locale where...
There is a major pipeline that goes through the property underground.
Okay.
But there is nothing above ground. We do already here in Hopkinton have a meter and regulator station or a gas gate station.
Where's
up
that?
on Wilson Street.
Wilson Street. Okay, so that's as you go past Serenity House, is that where
Well,
that
that is actually where, when you drive by, you can sometimes see a huge flame in the sky because it's the LNG. They're burning off some of the gas.
Okay.
We had that discussion a year ago in the Board of Selectmen elections. The question came to the candidates: what do you think about the LNG gas pipeline? And that's a revenue source for us. The town gets revenue from having that here, but God forbid something goes wrong. So it is understandably a concern.
So we have one already on Wilson Street.
We do, and it's my understanding, and please fact check me on this. The meter and regulator station that is up on Wilson Street feeds other towns before it comes back into Hopkinton. So if there's any disruption in service, Hopkinton is affected by it first.
Okay.
So what they're saying, Eversource is saying now, is that they need to put another station in our town to feed our growth.
Okay.
And we're not saying that we don't want gas in the town. We're not opposed to gas being put in the town. What we're saying is that you shouldn't put it this close to people's homes. Where they're proposing to put this is on a small parcel of land, approximately 57 feet from the bedroom windows of 5 homes. It's just a few hundred feet from Elmwood Elementary School. It's across the street from a daycare center, and it's, I don't know, maybe about 600-700 feet from Golden Pond. So the normal operations of this facility, would be something like if you had a bunch of gas stoves running right outside of your bedroom window. That's what they smell like. We went to 2 of them. We went to the one up on Wilson Street. We went to another one in Needham, which most represents the one that they're proposing here in town.
Are there residents living near that gas gate station in Needham?
No.
So what is it, describe to me what it looks like. Do you drive like off a dirt road and it's in the middle of nowhere in Needham, or what does it look like?
It's off of a major road. And if you go to our website, noelmstreetgasgate.com, I know it's so
Go for it.
inventive.
It's fine.
No, absolutely.
So if you go to our website, there's actual video that I took of the station. It looks like a couple of brick small buildings with some pipes, but the noise and the smell are the 2 biggest concerns. What they've done is they put some trees around it so that it kind of hides it a little bit. But we can't find one of these facilities built so close to people's homes. We simply can't. And Eversource has told us that, oh yes, they're everywhere. And we've asked them, can you tell us where? We'll drive there, and they simply can't find us an address.
Okay.
How convenient. So we've looked into this, and again, like I said, the normal operation of this thing, it's going to smell of gas. It makes a constant hissing sound and humming sound. So the people who live nearest to it are not going to be able to get a good night's sleep. You're not going to be able to open your windows to fresh air anymore.
Do you know the dust? I'm just thinking about, I was on the Board of Health for 3 years, just thinking about, so noise pollution has been brought up before at a Board of Health meeting. So I'm just thinking out loud, saying to myself, so what are the decibels that would come out of something like this? And would that be prohibitive to having people close to where that is? I'm just...
So we've asked this of Eversource, and what they did was they came out to measure the sound conveniently during the summer last year when all the leaves were on the trees. But we live in New England, and how often do we not have leaves on our trees? So that was one concern that we had. But in addition, they're saying that this is a brand new type of facility, one that's never been built before, right? This is a brand new type of facility, so that's not giving us anything to research, which is convenient for them, but then the argument can be made, so you've never done this before and we're the guinea pigs?
So have they compared it, somebody must be selling the technology for this, so whoever they're buying this technology from must have something like this across the country somewhere.
Right.
I've got to imagine that there must be another location for something like this.
There are several of these located throughout the country, and I've posted some videos again on our website.
Of this new technology?
No.
Oh,
the new technology is brand new.
But brand new to the entire universe?
Apparently.
Oh.
According to
There's not,
Eversource.
so you do a really good job researching.
I'm trying.
And I know Jonathan Phelps had an article in the Hopkinton Crier
When is
on
that
the
article
June
from?
9th page,
Right.
the June 9th issue. And one of the things that you had pointed out was that there's something called mercaptan, which is a chemical that adds the scent to the odorless natural gas, can cause respiratory and cardiovascular disease. And that Eversource also plans to update the LNG facility on Wilson and is expanding an electrical substation on South Street. So that's 3 different things that Eversource wants to do. And I know that when I was at the Board of Selectmen meeting, or watched on TV, every single board member spoke out, not against necessarily, but put a halt to anything that Eversource wanted to do that evening, based on the fact that we have requested many times not to have double poles holding lines,
Wires up and
wires.
Okay.
So the company requested installing 2 utility poles on West Elm Street and installing 12,140 feet of conduit and 27 manholes within South Street, West Elm, and West Main. And I was so proud of Brendan Tedstone and John Catino and Todd Sestari, all that, Brian Herr, for standing strong. Claire wasn't there.
Okay.
But for standing strong and just saying, you haven't answered our concern about the double pole issue. When you speak to us about that, then we will talk to you about moving forward with anything.
So it'd be interesting to see if anybody was at the selectmen meeting where Eversource came and pleaded their case. Would they like to call in and join the conversation as well and sit here and talk with us with Summer?
Yeah.
So let's continue on. So
Well, there's one more thing I want to
sorry,
say.
Margie, go ahead.
It's okay. The quote that the Hopkinton Independent has in today, the June 15th issue, just came out, said that while the proposed work was electrical in nature, you know, the pole thing they wanted to do in the manholes, Selectman Brian Herr explained to the Eversource representatives present that Hopkinton as a community sees Eversource as one entity. You know, gas,
Right.
electric, it's all one thing. And he said, this is the quote, "We're very frustrated with Eversource now. There's a lot going on in town with Eversource, and unfortunately you are coming this evening and getting the brunt of it. This is not something that I can support until Eversource figures out how they are going to interact with Hopkinton going forward in a more positive manner." So Eversource has not really honored our questions and concerns to this point. So
To the satisfaction of the selectmen.
of the selectmen who
Who
represent
speak on the town
exactly
on our behalf.
So I was so proud of the selectmen. And then Brendan Tedstone's quote was, like these guys said, I'm out 100% until we see some common sense and some action, said Selectman Brendan Tedstone. I'm out.
Thank you, Ted.
He
and thank you,
repeated,
Brian, for
saying
being
he
vocal.
felt like he was on the TV show Shark Tank. We love Brendan Tedstone. So he's very
Does it say
direct.
we love
to the
Brendan
point.
Tedstone
It
in
doesn't.
that?
No, that was my
Oh, okay.
comment.
I didn't know
That
it
was
was
my
editorial
parenthetical
comment.
comment. Yes.
I'll second that.
Yes. So the good work that you have done on this website is probably part of what the selectmen, I would imagine, took into account when they looked at how is this being handled by Eversource.
I would hope so. I have put in so much work. I really have. And I'm working with a group of people in our complex. I mean, we've all been putting in our fair share of work, and doing the research on something that, I mean, none of us specialize in any portion of this, and we're just trying to do the homework on it. And we have found the selectmen to be so incredibly supportive, and they have been so outspoken. I mean, when we heard them at this last meeting, actually in the last few meetings when they've been speaking out about it, I mean, it takes everything just to not start clapping, because we're just so excited that they're just so adamant that they're backing this, and they're saying this is not an appropriate location. And we really appreciate it, because we're talking about not just the residents, but we're talking about the children of Elmwood. Everybody's kids are going to be going to that school. We're talking about a senior living facility. We're talking about a daycare center. This is a very small residential street. I don't know how familiar everybody is with the Elmwood street, but it's a small street. And when you see the Harvey vehicles passing by each other, they have to slow down a little bit sometimes, because
Absolutely.
it's such a small street. So what happens if there's a leak at this facility,
Right.
and we have to evacuate the elementary school, and we have 200 plus residents all trying to get down that tiny street while you're trying to get emergency vehicles in, you're trying to get repair crews in? What does that look like?
Right.
So the normal operation of this thing emits all kinds of pollutions into the air, and then you have the risk of an accident. And Eversource keeps saying, quoting, how safe they are, and it's not going to be that bad. But everything is safe until it's not.
Right.
One of my neighbors, Chris Tatro, he says, everything is safe until it's not, and that's exactly it. I've posted videos again on our site that shows you that there are numerous accidents that occur. Mercaptan in and of itself, they'll say, well, it's found in nature. Well, it is found in nature. However, there are so many side effects. We're talking about nausea, headaches, asthma attacks, bloody noses. If they want to store it at this site, if there's a leak or if there is a spill on this site, all the runoff from this site goes directly to the playground of Elmwood Elementary School. And the cleanup takes forever, and there are other communities that have been devastated by mercaptan spills. And so we're talking about parents having to come and pick up their children from getting sick. Parents aren't going to want to send their kids there anymore.
Right.
This is devastating.
It totally is devastating, and that's one of the reasons why we're so happy that you're here, because you are obviously really well researched and passionate about this. I work at Elmwood School, so I have been following this with great interest. And one of my questions is, what is good about having this gas gate here for our community? Is there a reason why this would be a good thing? Is there revenue positive for the town? Is there some reason why Hopkinton would benefit? I don't know. If anyone out there knows and could call us or email us, because I would like to think, I'm a little bit of an optimist or a little naive. I always think the best of people until I'm proven wrong. So I would like to believe that there is a good reason for allowing or even considering this, because it, as you say, it seems so obvious that it's not a healthy option for our town, or put it in a part of town that's a big field and nothing else is going to go there. But even then, if the mercaptan gets into the groundwater, does that then seep? So I think there are a lot of questions, and I'm so happy and proud of you for being the kind of person who takes action, you know, when you see something that isn't right. And I know your neighbor Sandy Altamiro was another one that was very active in this.
Oh, yes. Love
Yep.
Sandy.
Sandy, if you're listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts about this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there are people that are saying that the likelihood of this failing, of a catastrophic event, is so minuscule. And we can go 100 years and then we'll have new technology, again, brand new technology that'll make it even more safe. So I'm sure that there are proponents of this that I'd be interested to hear from as well.
I would love to hear.
So if anybody from Eversource, anybody in the community that
Yeah.
is a proponent that might say, listen, this is what we need for our infrastructure, to use that term again from this morning.
If there's something good
You
about
know,
it.
what is good about it? Does that article talk about anything that is good
Well,
in
it
rights?
just,
I might be able to shine some light on this. So, Eversource told us that this site was not their first choice.
aha.
What was their first choice?
Well, I think that there were a couple of other sites they haven't shared with us.
Okay.
And it's my understanding that they were supposed to come to the town with three possible choices, and they failed to do so. That's my understanding of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that they had also looked at Parkwood, which is just right down the street, so it's really not that far away. And Legacy, it's my understanding that they had the opportunities to buy other properties that they failed to do so. They've owned this parcel of land since the 1940s.
The one
And-
where they were going to put it?
Yes, right,
Oh.
right on, at 42 Elm Street, where they
Interesting.
want to put this. They've owned it since the 1940s, so they own this land. And but the buildings around it have built up over the years, and they've allowed an entire community to build around them. And now they want to drop this industrial facility literally at people's front doorsteps. And you know, Eversource is doing this all across the state, and that's kind of the concern. Is we're seeing this. We're not the only town with this struggle. We're not the only town who is retaining counsel to fight them. And the concern is that Eversource, and we appreciate the fact that they want to spread energy throughout the state, but they shouldn't destroy existing communities to foster foreseen communities. And it's disturbing to me to see that they did a walk for Boston Children's Hospital recently, and now they're going to put a facility just a few hundred feet away from an elementary school, knowingly and intentionally risking the health and safety of children.
So you're
It's
not
kind of
upset.
critical.
You're not upset that they were raising money, but it's the juxtaposing of charity for children and yet potentially putting children in harm's way.
Exactly.
So
And then there was someone who came into the Board of Selectmen meeting named Paul Fitzgerald, who represented Dell and EMC, who raised concerns about the South Street manholes.
South Street manholes. What is that?
For Eversource wanted to put manholes in
Okay.
to carry power with the conduit wire going through the manholes so they could service the wire. So he said, we have 7 buildings and 6,000 employees. Fitzgerald said he would like to understand what the work is, when it is, what the traffic impact is going to look like, and what the overall impact to South Street will be. It's an incredibly busy business area. So if you're going to impact their traffic at the times when the employees need to come to work, that's a huge inconvenience. So anyway, Kamalo said that the information the town had received from Eversource was conceptual, and that the concerns raised had not yet been addressed. So Eversource has an idea, they're floating the idea, they don't have the details. Kamalo said, we have identified a traffic management plan needs to be prepared and presented to the town for review prior to the pre-construction meetings, and the town needs to see the detailed construction plans.
I think he would say that if there were any those are things that you do for any project. So
Right.
that's not special to this particular
Exactly.
project. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're saying, and then the only other thing I have here, an Eversource spokesman said both projects are related to our ongoing commitment to providing safe, reliable electric service to our customers, along with constantly monitoring the current demand for electricity across our service area. Our engineers forecast what future needs will be in order to properly plan and execute equipment upgrade projects such as these. So I don't know if he's talking about the safe conduit of the electricity or the safety of the community.
I think electricity, I think it's, and this might be my own nominal understanding of energy, but I think electricity, less danger in general than a gas explosion leak, chemicals seeping into a water table.
Right.
You know, a central population around
Right.
an area that it's not easily accessible in or out of due to a small, narrow road, speed restriction, you know, just a strange traffic pattern. If you're on, anybody knows that Elmwood, you've got to kind of go through that little area, then you're waiting for people to come off of Main Street because
There's a
if
loop.
there is a loop, they have the right of way, so a lot of things affecting that. What I would like to see certainly, and I don't know enough about the Eversource, and I'm definitely going to go to your website and
Yeah.
look at it and inform myself.
And
because
tell us the name of the website again.
It's noelmstreetgasgate.com.
Okay.
Have you had people come up to you and say, "We want it," and it's going to happen? Have you had?
No. No.
So amazing. Among
Honestly, I've had people come up to me and say thank you.
Right.
I bet.
You know, I've been a price chopper, and I've had somebody stop me and say, "Oh yeah, you're doing the Facebook page, right?" You know, in fact, when I was handing out flyers outside of Elmwood, letting people know what was going on, I had parents saying, "We've already signed the petition. Thank you so much." So I've had nothing but people saying thank you. I have not had anybody really be in opposition. I think I've had people inquire, you know, well, are you guys against gas? No. You know, I don't know enough about, I mean, look, I like to cook with gas. I do. You know, that's not the case. Although I do have to say that Eversource has a real problem in this state. They have, you know, roughly 20,000 gas leaks a year. And I don't want that next to my house.
Right.
You know?
Do you ever smell gas from in your house now?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that's the other thing. It was our complex happens to be 100% electric, so
Oh.
we don't even benefit from this.
Go back to your petition for a second. What does your petition say? What's the verbiage of the petition? And I assume you were the one who started it?
Actually, my wife was the one who started the petition. She wrote it up, and I am going to get in a lot of trouble right now. I don't know the exact verbiage of it, but I think
So your wife's name is?
Jamie Corcos.
Jamie, if you're listening, feel free to call in and let us know what it says.
I'm in trouble now.
It's okay.
So Jamie has emailed in. Look at
Awesome.
talk about technology.
She's so good.
Thank you,
What a
Jamie.
good
All
person.
right.
Jamie says, well, Jamie has a question, actually. She does not
Perfect.
address this,
So
but she
let's
talks,
answer
just
the
that she's
question
been
and
at
then-
meetings and concerned about Eversource and how they're going about things. So to your point about, you know, not really addressing concerns that are already established in town.
Yeah.
And how is their record with the state gas leaks and other projects? How can we, the public, help? Who should we call or email? That's another thing that I'm sure you can speak to about, you know, who besides our selectmen can people reach
Yeah.
out to if they have a concern about this and the against the gas gate station?
So I will say that Senator Spilka and Representative Dykema
Yes.
have both been on board with everything that we've been doing. Dykema actually called me at home and we discussed this entire thing, and they have written letters to Eversource encouraging them to work with the town. I think the person that we need to reach out to the most right now is Governor Baker. You know, individually, towns are crying out to him, but I think collectively we need to reach across the town lines and as an entire state let him know what's going on, because right now I think towns are feeling quite bullied by Eversource, and I think that their relationship with communities is hurting. And I know that he wants to spread gas throughout the state, but at what cost? And I think we need to get him involved.
And
So-
he's very responsive. I have met with him. I've met him, and I've observed how he has been dealing with the opioid crisis. I think he really is a great guy, and he's got a good heart and good intentions. So I think that's a wonderful idea. If people
Charlie
wanted
Baker, if you're watching, we invite you to call in if you've
yes,
got
and
nothing
please
going on
feel
tonight.
free to join us sometime to be a
Absolutely.
guest.
Absolutely. I know Charlie Baker has been to Hopkinton for certain
Yes,
fundraisers,
yes,
for sure, and
yeah.
I know he's been here for other
And there's a
political
person
things.
named Joanne O'Leary, who's community relations for Eversource. She was the one that came to the meeting, and the selectmen were very well mannered and apologized that they were seeming to put up a brick wall, you know, but they politely said, we need to have some give and take. And, you know, I think it would be really great to understand how it's a good thing, if it is a good thing, you know, and give us some reassurance. It sounds like if it's a brand new technology, then we don't really know. And like you said, we don't want to be the place that they test it on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that petition for a minute, though. So your wife wrote it. How many signatures do you have on that petition right now? And are they actually have to be signatures, right? They're not e-signatures.
And check to see if we have an email from Jamie
No emails right now
on
from
the-
Jamie.
on the petition.
There's two different kinds of petitions that we've done. We've done handwritten ones that people have actually taken and done, and we've also done one online. I think at this point we've got roughly about 350 signatures.
Okay, it looks
That's
like
great.
there is a
Great.
link that I cannot open, but there is a link. Here we go. Let's see if I can get it to open now.
I know that there is an online link attached to our
To the
website.
petition.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep,
And there's also, if you go on, there's
Get it
contact information for the governor and talking points as well. All kinds of information. I just encourage people, fact check me on everything. If you find that I'm wrong about something, let me know. This is not what I do for a living. So
Is there a contact, so there's contact information on the bottom
Yes.
of the, at the site? Okay,
Yes.
great. And I'm sure that people can go there to look at the exact wording of the petition.
Yes.
But I'm also sure that you know a general of what the petition would say.
I believe the petition just says, that this is, it explains what exactly it is and that we want to put a stop to it and we want to know how many people are backing us.
Great.
Yep.
And again, if anyone's watching and they know or they feel that we should have a gas gate here, we would really love to hear what you think about that. We just don't know. So we can see the points that Summer's making. We would also love to hear what the points are on the other side, if there is anyone who would like to share that. It did sound to me like the Board of Selectmen would consider it if the concerns about the polls, the double polls, were met. So I don't know what's going to happen going forward.
I don't know that that's an equivalent. To me, I don't know that's an
But
equivalent
that's
give
what
and
they were
take.
bringing up in the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. I think their point was, listen, you haven't addressed these other things.
Right.
But
So
I
we're
don't
not
think
even
if they
gonna think
fix the
about it.
double polls, they're going to get a gas
I
station.
agree.
I don't think it's
I agree.
equivalent. Yeah, but
Right.
I think with their point of addressing concerns in the community
Right. They aren't.
was
Yeah.
just part of what they were trying to say, for sure.
Yes.
So what your goal would be to listen? Do we even need a gas gate? Do you think in your
What does a gas gate do?
So essentially what it does is the gas gate taps into the major gas line that goes through the town and it decreases the pressure so that it can distribute gas.
Oh.
Think about like spokes
It's
on
like
a
a vent.
wheel. No, it's a pipe. It plugs into the larger pipe, so it's a smaller pipe, if you will, and it, like spokes on a wheel, takes gas to people's homes, right? So this station reduces the pressure, reduces the amount of gas that's going through the pipes, so that it can go into people's houses.
So it
And
regulates it a little bit.
it regulates
and disperses
it. Yes, so it meters it
Okay.
and it regulates it,
Yeah.
and it adds the chemical mercaptan to it so that it has the odor that you
Right.
smell in your
Right.
kitchen. So what it does, so the thing is, we already have one here in town, and it's supplying us gas. It goes up, I believe, through a couple of other towns before it comes back to us to service us.
Yeah.
And so what they're saying is that we, as the town is growing, we need more gas, and so they want to put another one in. And I think what our argument is, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be in the middle of our town if, we're able to feed 3 other towns with our existing
Right,
gas gate, and this
exactly.
one's going to feed other towns as well. And so we're saying, we already have one, maybe it's somebody else's turn, and maybe it shouldn't be so close to people's
have
homes.
any other towns reached out to you to say, we want to be able to contribute to this, we want to be part of that conversation, or has anybody really? No.
We would love to hear more about this in the future. We have to go to a break now.
Sounds great.
But we have so appreciated your time and your passion and your energy for this, and Jamie too. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks, Summer. Thanks.
We'll be back.
We'll be right back.
I Am Day was a recognition of everyone's uniqueness. Hopkins School students and staff wrote character traits about themselves and paraded through the halls to celebrate.
Our Girl Scout Troop 68067 has been working on their Bronze Award on bullying and self-esteem.
And I Am Day was part of this project. Thank you for watching.
Hello, welcome to HCAM Insights. Did you know that Hopkinton's television station has a virtual plethora of virtual methods to keep you connected to everything Hopkinton? In addition to our TV channels and website, we have a monster Facebook presence, daily email updates, a Twitter account, an RSS feed, and a little button for Google+. And yes, I don't know what that one does either. But anyway, if it's Hopkinton's social media you're looking for HCAM.
Hi, and we're back. Thanks for joining us. Please feel free to call in at 508-435-7880 or email live at hcam.tv.
What a nice guest we had, Margie.
Oh my goodness.
Summer Genius.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
Summer Janice. So glad she came in and happy that she feels so strongly and just to get some research in and inform the question and the discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's nice having that live opinion.
Yes.
Out there.
And she's so well researched too.
She is. And what does she do for work?
I don't know.
She said it was not what she does
Something
for
brilliant.
work. But yeah.
I don't know.
Talented
So
for
up
sure.
next, we have had some fun things in town. Carnival was here.
Carnival was here. I should say. I dropped off my 13-year-old Jack there on, I think it was Sunday night. And I gave him a little bit of money and said, have at it.
Yeah.
And he said a lot of his friends went. So when I dropped, there was a little bit of a line getting into the carnival. But what a great idea. I've never seen a carnival in town. Have you?
I have never seen a carnival here. I do remember there was one in Milford at the Kmart Plaza.
I remember that, yeah.
And I didn't go to that one
Was
either.
that a PTA or a
The one-
fundraiser in Kmart in Milford?
Don't know.
I don't think it was, but this certainly, to have an HPTA fundraiser
great.
carnival was it
great.
kind of brought back memories.
Yeah. Didn't you say that you heard they raised a lot of money at the carnival?
They
for
raised a bunch of
HPTA?
money. Yep.
Yeah.
I did reach out to Erin Graziano. Thank you, Erin, for emailing me back. She was not able to come in or talk with us tonight.
We'll get her another
She's
time.
got some obligations with her family, so hope you're having fun with that. But she says that she had a friend who said a good weekend would gain $15,000 to $20,000 after all expenses for the fundraiser. So I also would love to know, and anybody who's on the PTA now or has been, I would love to know how much so far they have raised for different programs, underfunded, non-funded programs. I would love to just see what the numbers are in terms of what we do. It comes all back to that state of the town this morning, and what Kathy McLeod was saying is that our initiatives, our volunteerism, everything that we do for these kids in our community really it's realized.
Well, we're invested in our schools
We
and
are.
our children. That's part of why people come to Hopkinton.
Yep.
I work in the schools, so I'm personally invested, but even if I didn't, I would feel the same way. I know that's why my parents moved to Newton, because
Right.
they, were invested in the schools, and schools make a big difference in a good town.
Absolutely. We picked Hopkinton because of the town.
Yeah.
So she said so far they've raised $9,000.
Great.
They don't have all the amounts in because they have to pay for porta
Sure.
potties and police details
Yeah,
and those kind
yeah.
of things.
Cleanup
so
must
we'll
have
see.
been tough.
Yeah, we'll get a final amount when we hear.
I know my daughter went twice.
Did she really?
She went Thursday night, first night, and then she had to go again Sunday night. She had such a good time, and she's not one, or she hasn't traditionally loved roller coasters, but she had the best time.
Oh
She
my
really
gosh,
did.
fun.
And I assured her they have to check all the nuts and bolts before they let anybody on the machinery.
Yes, they do. Yes.
They have to make sure it's safe.
Right.
If people are going to get on there.
Right.
So,
Oh, I think
yeah,
it's wonderful.
That's good.
Erin did say it was a huge success.
That's great.
So there are some fundraisers we know that don't always do well, and
Right.
and this seems like it was a huge success.
Yep.
She received numerous texts from friends saying how much they enjoyed the event.
Right.
She had the children were sharing what they did over the weekend. She was in one of the classrooms. She said the carnival was at the top of everybody's list.
Yeah.
So how fun was that to have that
That's great.
experience and that memory for these
That was
kids?
great. And we
So-
have, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, she also just says she's meeting with the town administrator to review the event, or town administration to see if there's any positive feedback. And she believes strongly in the power of education. She was blessed to have amazing teachers and parents who provided her with incredible educational opportunities. And she has been a Hopkinton teacher in the past, from 99 to 2005. So thank you, Erin, for being a teacher in our community.
Absolutely.
So,
we also have the Timlin race coming up.
Timlin race is
on Saturday morning.
this weekend.
Yep, and that's a wonderful fundraiser for Lou Gehrig's disease, I believe. No, which is
ALS?
ALS, yeah, I think
which
so.
is Lou Gehrig's.
Lou Gehrig's,
exactly. Amyotrophic
which-
lateral sclerosis, I
Thank you,
believe.
and I heard that is possibly related to Lyme disease. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
And Parkinson's
We go back
and
to the
multiple sclerosis.
immune issue.
Yeah.
We have our first Twitter comment.
Oh, good.
How exciting is that?
Awesome.
Thank you. It says Hop Youth Com at Hop Youth Com.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what that means, but I think that we should check that out.
Okay.
The Youth Commission.
Yep.
Yep. So were you involved with the Youth Commission
I'm
before?
chair of the Youth Commission. I'm not sure what the comment is.
I'm going to
But
try
I
and
was
scroll down
just
a
going to
little bit.
say that the
Yeah.
other thing we have on the 17th is Hopkinton Multicultural Festival.
Okay.
Which is going to be on the Common from 1 to 4.
So that's next.
That's this Saturday.
This Saturday,
So
okay.
Sharon Timlin race in the morning, Hopkinton Multicultural Festival in the afternoon. And so grab some lunch and come on over. We're having tables of different cultures or cultural backgrounds that are living in
fun.
Hopkinton. So we have a table of German foods and crafts.
I love it.
We have African American foods and crafts. We have Vietnamese foods and
Oh,
crafts.
that's
Very
fun.
exciting. Chinese foods and crafts. And we have dancers doing Indian classical dance and Indian Bollywood and Irish step dancing every half an hour from 1 to 4.
So lots to do. There's always something to do
Big
in
day
Hopkinton,
Saturday.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Big day. And so last weekend there was a lot going on as well.
Yes.
So it's always a fun time to be around. So I know that my kids enjoyed last weekend for sure. Next week or in 2 weeks we will have Chief Ed Lee on the
Yes.
show to talk about
Teasers.
the things in the community that are facing our police. So we look
Right.
forward to having him on. And I guess we'll see you next week, right?
That's right, we will. And thank you so much for joining us. Please feel free to join the conversation next time. So we will see you on the 21st. Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
Talk amongst yourselves. I don't know, you